Africa's divine memory, the forgotten gods, Orishas and ancestral power reclaiming the sacred stories and spiritual wisdom of Africa. By Thomas. Tcheuffa TPS, salsaeverybody.com. Monthly events category rhythms movements. Unlocking the secrets of dance music cultures. What if everything you thought you knew about African spirituality was only half the story? What if the sacred traditions, gods, and cosmologies of Africa have been hidden or misunderstood for centuries? Imagine a journey into the sacred heart of Africa's divine memory, a source of power beyond time. Before the world forgot, Africa remembered long before Christianity and Islam reached African soil. There were already spiritual systems, cosmologies, and divine sciences guiding the people of Alkebulan, the original name of Africa. Long before colonization and conversion, Africa lived in harmony with the cosmos. The rivers spoke, the drums prayed, the ancestors watched. Masks, totems, temples, and monuments were not symbols of darkness. They were channels of divine communication. They carried codes of knowledge, balance, and protection. Yet colonization and religious conquest distorted these truths, branding what was sacred as witchcraft, what was divine as devil worship. And so, the world forgot. This is not religion, this is remembrance. Africa's divine memory is a call to truth, wisdom, and ancestral awakening. If Maman Africa revealed the forgotten civilizations, Africa's divine memory reveals the forgotten gods. A call to reclaim what was lost through years of research, cultural study, and deep spiritual practice. Thomas Tcheuffa brings forth Africa's divine memory, a powerful exploration of the gods, Orishas, and ancestral forces that shaped Africa's sacred landscape. This work merges scholarship and spirituality, revealing how Africa's divine heritage remains alive in our music, our movements, our rituals, and our memory. Inside, you will discover the sacred cosmologies of West and Central Africa, the role of Orishas and ancestral spirits in daily life, the spiritual technologies of rhythm, ritual, and reverence, how colonization erased these truths, and how we can reclaim them. A journey through spirit and knowledge. What if everything the world called primitive was actually ancient science? What if what was called pagan was in truth universal wisdom? Museums across Europe, including the Vatican, display thousands of stolen African artifacts, masks, statues, totems, that they once condemned as evil. If these sacred objects were truly dark, ask yourself, why preserve them? Why profit from them? Why pray before them now? Because deep down, the world still feels Africa's spirit, the rhythm that never died. To reclaim our spiritual heritage is to awaken the soul of a people. Thomas Tcheuffa. Who this book is for spiritual seekers, Afro-descendants, historians, educators, and anyone ready to reconnect with ancestral wisdom and sacred truth. For those who believe that knowledge is liberation and that remembering is an act of power. Through these pages, readers will gain a deeper understanding of Africa's spiritual heritage, empowerment through reconnection with ancestral memory, insight into how this wisdom transforms identity, culture, and consciousness. Why this book matters. This is not about religion. This is about memory and the sacred link between human and divine, earth and cosmos, past and present. It is time for Africa's sons and daughters to reclaim their ancestral spirituality, to honor their gods and Orishas, and to restore the sacred artifacts stolen by empire and ignorance. This is where our genius resides, not outside us, but within us, in our blood, our rhythm, our melanin, and our memory. The truth is not meant to comfort, it is meant to free. Thomas Tcheuffa. A word from the author. This book was not written for fame or debate. It was written because silence has become violence, and distortion has become doctrine. Too many lies have been repeated as history. Too many truths buried beneath fear. I did not write to ask permission to speak. I wrote to remind the world that Black people are not a branch of history. We are its root. This work is not against anyone. It is for truth, for those ready to unlearn, awaken, and reclaim the sacred, for the children of the sun, the seekers of light, the warriors of memory. You don't have to be Black to read this book, but you must be brave. because truth requires courage. If this book speaks to your soul, share it, so Africa's sacred voice is never silenced again. Explore all books by Thomas Tcheuffa. The Africa Trilogy, Restoring the Sacred Memory FB Group, https www.facebook.com, groups, 2397873619427. Mom in Africa Before Slavery, The Real Africa Before Time. Africa's Divine Memory, The Forgotten Gods and Orishas, Reclaiming Africa's Spiritual Wisdom. The Truth, Black People Are Earth, Melanin and Origins of Humanity, The Sacred Science of the First People. The Dance and Music Cultures Trilogy, Rhythms and Movements Rhythm, Education, Global Connection. The Dance of Connection, Teaching Approaches in Dance and Music, Way of Life Through Music, Foods of the Soul from African Drums to Latin Rhythms. These volumes show how rhythm becomes memory and movement becomes a universal language of the soul. Before the world forgot Africa, Africa had already remembered God. Available worldwide. English and French editions. Amazon.com, author, Thomas Tcheuffa. Infobooselseverybody.com. JodiCSowSellsEverybody.com monthly. Events category Rhythms Movements. Unlocking the Secrets of Dance Music Cultures, www.sellseverybody.com.